This presentation provides an overview of the Interoperability Asset Register. The Interoperability Asset Register is an online discovery service for interoperability assets relevant to e-health and to clinical research. It may contain assets of a legal kind, organizational support resources, technical assets, and semantic assets. Each asset is documented with descriptors that aim to inform a downstream user of the important aspects of each asset, its quality, its purpose, and key functional characteristics. By describing each asset in a consistent way and quality labeling the assets consistently, it becomes easier for an individual to compare assets and to determine which assets might be useful to their needs. The assets are quality labeled through an initial self-assessment process, but verified through an editorial review process and subsequently by open commenting by online communities of asset users. The register builds on quality design processes developed through the Semantic HealthNet project, and the register itself was implemented through the Expand project with supplementary support from Eurorec and RAMIT, and with input from a number of other European projects and initiatives. In addition to descriptors that specify the purpose of an interoperability asset, the originating projects, and how to access the asset, each asset is documented through 8 dimensions of quality by a series of metrics that allow a potential user to assess whether this particular asset has sufficient quality characteristics to meet their adoption needs. You can access the Interoperability Asset Register through a simple login, which you can request online. Once you've logged in, you are presented with a list of all of the assets held in the register, which you can browse or search. Apart from browsing all of the assets or searching for a particular asset through keywords, the menu on the left allows any registered user to create a new asset entry, to list the entries that they have previously created, and to list the assets they are contributing to. The color of the version number after the asset name tells you whether it's draft, under review, rejected, or has been published. It is easy to see which user last checked in or checked out an asset entry, so you can see if it's in the process of being updated. Clicking the green button allows you to view all of the details of an asset entry, and if it's not currently locked, the orange button may allow you to update the entry if you are authorized to do so. You can invite other registered users to become co-authors of an asset entry so that they can help you to complete some of the descriptors or check it. A user can also create a new entry by cloning an existing one and then just changing the fields that are different. From this screen, you can also quickly see what use case or use cases this asset has been specifically created for and what clinical domains it covers. This first screen of asset descriptors tells you its name, its type, the purposes that it serves, the domains it covers, the user groups, and a little bit about its license and revision cycles. The heart of an asset entry is a list of quality metrics, descriptors that help a potential asset user to understand better the different dimensions of quality that this interoperability asset meets. The quality metrics are organized along 8 dimensions, each with between 2 and 5 individual descriptors. This radius diagram gives a potential user a high-level view of the quality dimensions of a particular interoperability asset. Each of the descriptors has a drop-down list with a small number of values. Each of those values has a point score that contributes to the radius diagram. You will see that for each of the descriptors, it's possible to choose to be discussed, meaning that the author today doesn't yet have all the information they need to complete it and might wish to invite some co-authors to help them make the choice. It's also possible that for certain kinds of asset, descriptors are not always applicable, and so it's possible to leave blank any of the descriptors that are not relevant. For some of the descriptors where it's relevant, for example this one relating to conformance to standards, it's possible to add supplementary text, in this case to list the standards that this asset conforms to. Where they are available, we have used standard descriptor value lists, such as this one for technology readiness level. Apart from describing the asset itself, some of the quality metrics capture how widely the asset is being used or if particular organizations have endorsed it. It may be important for a potential future user to know what kinds of fees are associated with using the asset, which can be indicated from this descriptor and elaborated in a free text box. When creating an asset entry in the register, it's possible to save your work periodically whilst continuing to edit the entry, to save a draft and come back to it at a later stage, or to finalize this entry and submit it for review. Interoperability assets are not often used on their own, and this screen allows the entry author to indicate relationships between this asset and others in the register. You will see several different kinds of relationship that can be asserted here. This tab is used to indicate information about who is holding the asset, what release versions are available, and how it may be accessed. As I mentioned earlier, it's possible to invite any other registered users to become co-authors of this asset entry, thereby creating a small team who might contribute together to the full description of the asset or review it before it's submitted for finalization. A user logging in can quickly access a list of assets to which they have been invited to be a co-author. Assets listed in the register remain the property of the asset owner, who still determines access and licenses and any possible charges. However, the Interoperability Asset Register can offer a free hosting service for the asset if the owner wishes to take advantage of that. An asset entry is documented by the asset owners, who are responsible for ensuring that their entry is as complete and faithful and transparent as possible. An independent review board will verify each entry and try to determine that it is as consistent, plausible, and correct as possible. After publication, the community of downstream users can post additional comments that are helpful to subsequent users and may recommend changes to the entry itself for consideration by the original entry authors. The Interoperability Asset Register itself is now being sustained and maintained by the European Institute for Innovation through Health Data, which will take it forward over the next few years, evolving its functionality to meet new identified needs and to engage with other projects to attract in their assets so that they may be accessed and used by subsequent projects and initiatives. We are also exploring with the joint action supporting the eHealth network and with the European reference network communities how the register may support their needs in the future and also the needs of the Connecting Europe facility.